Hi, you guys. I'm gonna give it just a second and see if anybody hops on live with me. I know it takes a minute. So, I won't take long. I promise I won't take long. I know it's Sunday morning. Everybody's enjoying the last of their weekend. And we're potty training, plus I'm bribing my kids with lollipops right now, so we'll see how long that lasts. I don't know why I thought to potty train while my husband was gone, but I feel like I can't do anything. So we'll see how long this lasts uninterrupted. But give it one more second. They're in there fighting over the iPad and lollipops. Okay. And I know that you guys have gotten a ton of good information this week. If you're anything like me, you have notes upon notes that you want to implement, and so I don't want to overwhelm you with a ton more. Plus, when I was approached about talking to you guys about inviting, I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I feel like inviting is sort of almost my weakness, and it's actually on my goal board for 2017 to get better about inviting, like specifically inviting and growing my team that way. So when I was asked to talk to you guys about it, I really had no idea what I wanted to say. I didn't know what angle I would take, and I decided that I wanted to just sort of chat for a few minutes about finding your groove with the inviting and telling you a little bit about what I do and what's worked for me in my business this far. For me, 2017 is really about stepping out of my comfort zone and getting more intentional with things like inviting. So I'll share with you what I've done so far to get to where I am, but obviously the goal is to continue to develop, to work on this. So when I started coaching, I started a little bit under 2 years ago, and I had zero warm market, like none. My family, not into it. Still, none of my family is even a customer of mine. My friends, not so much. I think that I was probably the last person anybody would take seriously about anything fitness related. Plus, I was pregnant. I was 6 months pregnant when I signed up as a coach, so I think people just sort of laughed at me. But when I started, I really didn't have much of an intention of growing this into anything. And when I finally decided I wanted to, I was going through lots of trainings, and hey girls were the thing. Not that we don't still send out messages, obviously that's huge. But I think that focusing on relationship building was much less a priority at the time, just in what people were doing. And so I sent out some hey girl messages, and I sent them to like my friends and a few family members, you know, hey, this is what I'm doing now. I think you'd be great. Want to join me? And it was so impersonal and icky, and I just felt gross as soon as I sent it, you know? It just didn't feel like me, and nobody came from it. I got lots of no's. I got lots of ignored messages, and it just didn't feel like me. So I think that my biggest takeaway that I want you guys to get from this is that you've got to find what works for you. You have to find what feels right for you and for your business, because what works for somebody else may not be what works for you, and what works for you may not work for them. I don't really message much anymore, and I know that's like a huge no-no sort of in this business, and I hate to say it, but I think about 95% of my business comes from people coming to me. So I know that's not the case for everybody, but I want to talk about how I got there, and I want to talk about what I do. But like I said, my biggest thing I want you to take away is that you need to be genuine with this. If you're sending out messages, send out messages that really sound like you. Send out messages that you would send regardless. Don't go into this with this, ulterior motive of making a sale, because that is just icky, and that is totally portrayed usually. If you go into this not being genuine, you're not going to come off as genuine, and nobody likes that. I mean, my inbox is full of messages daily with these spammy cold messages, and I'm like, even if I were in the market for this, I wouldn't come to you, because you don't know me, and you just sent me this message that has nothing to do with it, you know? Like, once I posted a post about how I was really struggling with my anxiety. I have postpartum anxiety, and it's been really tough lately, and somebody tried to sell me Thrive because of my anxiety. And I was like, girlfriend, look, you know, even if I were wanting to try this, that's not the angle to take. So if you're not being real, people are going to feel that, and that's going to turn people off. So when you are inviting, do it in a way that feels like you. And so I share my journey. I know Allie talked the other day about sharing your journey and having her journey be sort of like her invite. And I feel like that is kind of the angle that I take too. Because for me, I'm a total introvert, and messaging people just felt so weird to me. Not saying I don't ever do it, but like I said, a huge majority of my business comes from people reaching out to me. And I feel like that is because I'm a chronic overposter. I post everything about my life, but people really relate to the things that I post because, you know, I'm real about it. I'm real about when I'm struggling with, like I said, my anxiety or my depression. Right now we're potty training and my husband's gone. So I've posted about that, and people reach out to me. And sharing my journey opens these conversations that I feel like would not be a conversation were it not for me sharing every little bit of my life. And we talk about things other than Beachbody. I never go straight into this conversation like, yeah, I'm potty training my kid and I'm also working out, you know? I don't know, that just isn't real for me. And so we start with these conversations about, you know, for example, the potty training. This is what I'm doing. I've had people ask me about the method that I'm using and how he's doing with it, and we talk about it. And then a lot of times it does naturally come up. Hey, I see that you get to work from home. Can you tell me how you do that? Hey, I see that you've lost 60 pounds. How did you do that and still stay home with your kids? And so you just let it come up naturally in a real way, and then it's not going to feel icky. It's not going to feel like you're befriending them for the sale, because we don't want to do that. You have to genuinely connect with these people. And honestly, if they're jumping into your challenge groups, you want to have that connection with them anyway. You don't want it to be somebody that you have no idea anything about. If you want to genuinely help them, you've got to genuinely have that connection and that relationship before you invite them to your group. And I know that Molly talked the other day about your social media being your storefront, and I loved that analogy. I loved that, you know, you've always got to think about what you're posting on your Facebook or on your Instagram or your Snapchat. I always have a sneak peek and an accountability group going. My sneak peek, my team has been doing it once a month. We do it as sort of a live event where my girls pop in throughout the day and do a short live video about different aspects of coaching, and I leave that up for the whole month. And so that way I always have that to invite to. When somebody says, hey, I see that you get to work from home, how do you do it? I say, you know, I can tell them, and I can say, and I've got this really awesome group. Do you want in? Do you want to see? You know, I always have that to invite to. And same with my challenge group. I haven't run a smaller, more focused challenge group since the All Access Pass has become a thing, but I've got an ongoing team-wide accountability group, and so I always have that open. So if somebody says, tell me what you've done that's been working for you, you can have that. That's fine.
Yeah, because I get no of mine, and I have to start again.
Okay, all right. So I always have that to invite to when somebody says that, you know, they need help with this weight loss. What did I do that worked? Well, I can tell you what I did that worked. And, oh, I'm just seeing all of your comments. Hey, guys. I can say, this is what I did. This is the game changer for me. The accountability, the motivation, the team. Do you want in? And if I didn't have that group always open, I'd be like, oh, well, I've got another group starting in 2 weeks. I can help you then. You know what I mean? I've always got something to invite people to. So you've just got to find what works for you. For me, it's the posting. It's the sharing my journey. It is the having that available so that way when people reach out to me, I can respond and I can help them right away. And another thing is you've just got to find, like I said, you've got to find your group in this inviting. You've got to find what works for you. You have to learn to change. You have to learn to fail forward, and you have to learn to adapt. Like, this business is always changing. MLMs are always changing, and what works now may not work 6 months from now. You have to be flexible, and you have to figure out what feels right for you and is going to work for you. And never, ever, ever think of yourself as a failure if your message gets ignored or if somebody says no. When you reach out, or whether you're the one reaching out or somebody's reaching out to you and you talk to them a little bit about it and then they say no. I mean, that can be disheartening, right? When I first, sent out those hey girls, and then I kicked myself because I was like, this doesn't even sound like me. And they all came back as either no's or straight up just didn't respond. And that was so disheartening. I felt so like I'm never going to go anywhere with this. And so don't ever think of yourself as a failure. If you reach out to somebody and they say no, please, really, because you can't let that get to you and bring you down. If somebody doesn't want it right now, that's okay. Everybody has their right time. I reached out to coaches. I reached out to Ashley actually at first, and I reached out to Ashley and Jen, and it wasn't my time at the time. And so once I finally said no more, that was when I did it, and that was when I really started. But everybody's time is not the same. Everybody has their right time to start. And so if they tell you no, know that it's not always a solid no. It is not case closed, end of story. Don't ever, keep back in touch with them. Keep building that relationship and keep in touch with them. Keep liking things or commenting on things or sharing things, because a no is can be a not right now. Let me see. I love this. It resonates with me so much. Do you have just one? Lucas Cole, go help your brother. I have one large accountability group that is Beachbody programs. It's all of my girls. They're doing 21 Day Fix, Core de Force, all of those things. And it's for my downline and their customers too. And so that way it's a bigger group. It's not quite, thousands, but there are a few hundred girls in it, and it's really, really active. And so I always have that to invite people to. One second, I'm sorry, we're crying. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys, I'm sorry. We'll get me up in a minute. So, I also do run free groups. I try to do them monthly, that are not Beachbody related or that are just a clean eating group. That way, if somebody is not ready to, yes, it is totally real life when you work from home. You want your lolly?
No.
No. If somebody is not ready to commit to the Beachbody program, I still have something for them. And you good? We good? We're good for now. Okay. So yeah, I have the ongoing one is Beachbody programs, but I also do run a monthly one that is not clean eating or whatnot. So if that helps, I don't know if that helps Jill. And then another thing that I wanted to share as far as finding your groove, because I asked my girls, my team, I said, what part of inviting do you feel like you could use the most help with? What is an idea where you feel stuck? And one of my girls said, what about inviting in person? And so I was thinking about it, and I said, most of my downline, most of my coaches, and most of my challengers are all girls that I haven't met in person. They're girls from this networking online. They're moms, they're military wives that I've met from building these relationships and just connecting with them that way. However, and I said I've never done anything really in person, but I realized when I was talking to my husband last night, I said that's not true. So I wanted to share an idea that I did with one of my coaches back in Georgia, and what we did was we ran an event, a live in-person event. We actually teamed up with a couple other network marketing girls. I think we had a 31 girl and a Cincy, and we hosted this event. And what I did was I had shake samples, I had recipes from Fixate made up, I had Beachbody on demand where they could play around with it and see the different programs and see, you know, sort of what it offered. And this was before All Access, so it'd be even cooler now with All Access. And I invited that way. I had my business cards, I had a little bit, you know, blurb where I could talk to them about my challenge group and what happened in my challenge group, what we did, and I got a lot of business that way. I don't think I got any coaches from it, but I got a lot of challengers because people could see, they could meet me, they could put a face to the name, so it wasn't just on Facebook, and they got a little glimpse of the different programs and how we ate and the shakes. So that was a really good way for me to invite them, like, you know, meet me and see what I do, see, you know, how our challenge groups run, and then they all hopped into the challenge group, and a lot of them really liked it. So that's an idea for in-person. I am not really the one to go to for in-person inviting just because I don't have that market right now. I just moved though, so maybe I'll host another one of those and let y'all know how it goes. But overall, I really just wanted to, you know, make sure to stress that be genuine with your invites. Whatever method you use, whether you're messaging or you're using your Facebook to have people reach out to you, I just want you to really, really be real about it, because if you're not, that comes across, and that is such a big turnoff. And then just make sure you go into this with the right intentions. You know, you don't want to be that spammy person that's preying on somebody's depression and trying to sell them a shake that's going to help their mood. You know what I mean? Just be real about it, you guys. And make sure you always have something to invite your people to. That way, you know, when they reach out, you are ready. When they're ready, you are ready. Run with them. And just know that if you don't have a warm market, that's okay. You know, always be expanding your network, expanding your market, and reaching out to those people, but in a real way. I literally cannot stress that enough. Remember that what you post on social media is what people are going to see and connect with you and your groups. So just know that it is all about attraction and relating and then inviting. Inviting is one of the vital behaviors for a reason, and you need to find what works for you, what feels right for you, and what is going to work for your business right now. And then, you know what? Make sure that you're flexible to adapt, to go forward, and you know, grow with it. As your business grows, your methods have to change a little bit, and that's okay. As long as you're prepared for that, you are good to go. My kids are screaming downstairs again, so I am gonna hop off. I'm really sorry. I feel like I kind of rambled. I'm gonna go solve this issue, and if you have any questions, I will pop right back on and answer the questions in the comments. So just let me know. And I hope that you guys loved the Invite Academy. I know that I have a million notes to go back through this weekend. And I hope to see all of you in the Push to Diamond. So I will talk to y'all in a few minutes, okay? Have a good Sunday, you guys.